I think I came to AI through a very long detour. It did definitely not start with AI. It did not even start with software, really. It started with me trying to take things that were very analog and manual and move them into a digital environment. The first time I tried to do this was in 2016. I was finishing my MBA, and my final project was about how the Icelandic government communicated with tourists. And at that time, a lot of communication was still very analog, like papers, brochures, messages on big screens at the car rentals and things like that. Nothing was really online on the web. And my idea was quite simple. What if we moved that info into a digital environment on a website? And the funny thing is, it sort of worked. A version of this is still being used today. So, in one sense, it was a good idea, but looking back, that's all it was. It was just a good idea. And that was basically all it was. There was no real business model under it. There was no company, no structure, and no plan for how it would survive. I do not even think I fully understood what a business model for an online product was at that point. So that was my first failed attempt. A good idea, but nothing strong underneath it. Then in 2020, I tried again. This time I wanted to do it properly, and I chose something I actually understood from the inside: location scouting. I had worked in film and productions for years. I had seen how much of that work lives in emails, folders, all the things that we know in this industry. And I thought there has to be a better way to organize this and help people find locations in unknown countries. So we started to build a digital platform for location scouting. This time it was not just an idea, it was a company. We had a business model, team of developers, board members. We got investors on board. We got grants from the Icelandic government. I took it through two separate accelerators, all the things I definitely did not have in 2016. And that's when I discovered something very simple. Building the real thing is completely different than having the idea. I was a producer trying to build and run a tech company, and those are not the same job, not even close. I learned a lot very fast about product development, about working with developers, about financing, about investors in the digital environment, totally different from film, about how slowly things move when you're building with a team. And I can sort of compare it to, for anyone who's done an animated project, it sort of feels like that to me. You decide something and you see the result months later and decide that that was not a good idea and you have to go back. If I'm honest, I didn't know what I was getting into, not really. I thought I knew the problem, and I didn't know a part of the problem, definitely, but I didn't understand the machine required to solve it. Then the AI boom hit, and it hit while we were still in the middle of building in complete survival mode. And that part is actually quite important. I did not adopt AI because I was sitting around being excited about the future. I basically adopted it because I needed it. We were on an unsustainable track. We had too many people involved, too much cost, too many things we wanted to build. And suddenly AI became a way to move a lot faster. At first, it was just a tool, a way to help with building, a way to test ideas, a way to reduce the amount of time and money we needed to try something. But then something changed. I started seeing that things we had pushed years into the future suddenly became possible. Things like greenhouse gas calculations, that was always a dream to have that. Location search from GPS data, image detection, impact production analysis, a long list of things, of analytical tools that would have been enormously expensive to build before AI. And these ideas are definitely not new. We had thought of them from the very beginning, but we had to scrap them just because we didn't have the manpower or money to do it. But now all of a sudden, that became a thing that we could plan for and do. And not because we had money, but because the cost of building and testing had dropped dramatically. And that was the moment everything changed for me. It was not a dramatic moment. I was too stressed out running a startup to have any specific dramatic moments, but it was more in a practical way. So I started thinking, okay, if this is now possible, what should we actually use it for? And I kept coming back to the same thing, time. In our industry, everyone talks about budget, and for good reason, of course. But a lot of the cost in production does not begin as money, it begins as time spent. We spend time searching, rewriting, we spend time in coordinating, time spent on moving information from one person to another, time spent explaining the same project again and again, time spent because the knowledge does not live anywhere stable. In other industries, time can be measured more clearly. They have permanent teams, departments, processes, oversight. They can look at a workflow and say, this is where the time goes. This is where the cost is. And this is what we cut. But film and media are different. We're mostly project-based, freelance-based, temporary teams. Production comes together, works under pressure, and then dissolves. The knowledge leaves with the people. Then the next production starts again. And that's just the fact. It's not a problem. It's just how this industry is. But it has a cost. And very often that cost is quite invisible. So that becomes the conviction for me. If AI is going to matter in the creative industry, it has to do more than just impress us. It has to help us cut time that drives up cost. Not so we can make everything cheaper in a bad way, not on the creative side. Not so we can remove the creative part completely, the opposite. So we can protect the creative part. So we can get to the end point faster. And so we can spend less energy on the work around the work. That is what this series is about. It's about the budget test. A simple question I keep asking now, if this tool saves time, where does that show up in the budget? Where does it show up in the schedule? And where does it change the actual economics of the production? Because if it does not show up anywhere, maybe it's useful and maybe it's interesting, but it hasn't changed the cost structure yet. So in the next video, I want to talk about where the time actually disappears in real work. In the small things, we have all accepted it's normal because that is where I think AI becomes interesting. It's not a magical tool, it's not a hype, it's just a tool like a calculator, but better. But we have to find a way to cut the cost.